So we're at an industrial security conference, and we're going to talk about how to speak to executives. And you're wondering why. Why are we having a C-level, board-level conversation at what would usually be seen as a technical event? Because technical people can't speak to management very well. The best we can do is look at their shoes instead of our own. That's about as far as we get. We struggle with this. For the record, I am an ICS security consultant. I've been doing this for roughly 30 years, telecom, electric power, oil and gas, mining. But Dale asked me at S4 last year to do this conversation with executives just because it's something that we definitely have a hard time with. So let's talk about what I want you to learn today. These are my goal, my success is if you come away with some understanding of these issues. Understanding yourself before you go in, this is key. Understanding your business, because frankly, business is what this is all about. We've been in our own kind of industrial technology bubble, this protective space for a very long time. There is disruption coming. This is all going to be changing under your feet. What was IT, OT, it's just going to be T. It's just going to be technology. It's all kind of mixing up, becoming the same thing. Know your executives. Understand what their mindset is. How do they think? Know the risks that matter to the executives, not to you. You don't have the money, they do. So you have to understand what will help them realize what matters downstream. How to prioritize for business, because frankly, priority is one of the first things they're going to ask. How soon do we have to do this? Whatever you might be asking. Know their language. Know the words that they use and the language that they speak. This is actually very key. And then how to actually close, because you can get in front of them, you can get an audience, but how do you get them to actually commit to making a decision? Okay. So first things first, start off, security doesn't matter. Just say that, understand it. They don't care about security. They do, but they don't. I mean, yes, it's important to them in the fact that it's part of business, but they don't think about security at night. They think about losing money at night. They don't stay awake at night thinking, oh my God, am I going to get hacked? They think, oh my God, am I going to be on the front page for whatever reason that might be? Being hacked is one of those reasons, right? Security, from an executive's perspective, they don't speak technology. This is witchcraft and voodoo to them. This is frightening and scary stuff. And it gets in the way of what they want to do. They want to do all these things with the business, and security is always saying no. Okay, this is what they're thinking when you're going into this. They believe in things like air gaps, that they still work. They believe in isolation still works. They've been sold on this for years. And for years, it did work until we found out that air gaps really don't matter. Yes, you should still do them. Yes, you should do all these things, but security isn't perfect. Threat landscape changes, technologies change. As Dale said, kind of set your watch to about a 2-year cycle. It's going to change. They believe that in a lot of cases, we've never been hacked. Why should we do anything? Things seem to be just fine, right? Maybe you've never been hit by a car, but you still look both ways before you cross the street. There's a certain amount of diligence that has to go into this, but there is the mindset that it's never happened, so why should we do anything at all? There's the way we've always done it, so why should we change? If it isn't broke, why fix it? One of the things is the insanely high cost of operations. So you go to an industrial facility, just the engineering and the physical structure, millions and millions of dollars. That's their biggest concern. Is all of that giant, expensive asset that they got, that they're working on, and the product that comes out of it. And then frankly, it's just security can't compete with all of that. That's a much bigger landscape, and security is just a part of all of this. What security can do is it can partner with risk, because that's really the way to get through to executives, is just change the message. Next, look at yourself. Management never listens to their own staff. Just that's going to be the case. They're not going to listen to you. You're going to go in there and you're going to say the same thing 100 times. Management's going to ignore you. A consultant like myself or Dale will come in and we'll say it one time and they'll say, oh my God, we have to do something. But this is how it is. So you're already up against the fact that they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to give you the same degree of respect as an outside party. You may be the biggest and baddest technology person, rock star, grade, talent. They don't care. They don't know your space. They don't know you're a rock star. You can tell them all day. They don't recognize that. You're another person they hired. You should be a rock star. That's why I hired you. That's their perspective. And if you're not a rock star, go away. It means nothing to them. Degrees, certificates, presentations at prestigious conferences, none of that matters. They don't know those things. They have no idea what S4 is. Most of them don't. Technical skills, they don't care. They just don't matter. So, key, most security folks, security people, have a very low tolerance for risk. They don't want anything bad to happen. Nothing. Turn everything to off. And then when they stop screaming, that's where you kind of stop with the controls. So with management executives, it's just the opposite. They're going to accept a lot more risk than you want. That's their job. Repeat yourself with different words. Anybody have children, you understand what this means. Sometimes you got to say the same thing 10 times in different ways, and then they'll finally get it. Management is a lot like children in this sense. And then soft skills, the human side of things, is actually key. Your human communication skills are far more powerful in this setting than your technical skills. So all the technical stuff has to go away, and you have to bring out your capability to communicate well to other people, which is difficult for a lot of us. So next is know your business. Do your research on your business. You may know your piece of the business, but know everything about your business when you go in. Your executives already know this, and they're typically going to hit you with questions about other parts of the business you may not have thought about. So know everything about the company and how this is going to impact what you're trying to talk to them, the message you're sending. Understand how your organization is governed. Is it an investor-owned utility? Is it an investor-owned company operation? Is it a municipal? Is it a city or a state government-run organization? Is it privately held, right? Or is it multinational? You may actually have some issues to deal with there in terms of the differences in culture. The diversity of your product. I call it vertical integration. Maybe this is you actually mine some of the materials that you use in the supply chain before it goes through and then turns into a product. Electric utilities are like this, where they actually generate the power, or transmit the power, or distribute the power. That makes a difference because they're very different lines of business as well. Next, think like an executive. This is hard to do for a lot of people. Executives, they're good at business. That's why they are where they are. If they weren't really good at business, they wouldn't be where they are. It's simple. They're not technical. They know a lot about the business, but it's maybe this deep, and they're only so deep in other areas. They may be the line of business they came from, they know very well, but they don't know much about everything, and they don't like to show that. They like to act like they know everything about the company front to back. The reality is they don't, but they don't like to show it. They like winning. That's why they are where they are. They don't like to lose anything. They don't like to lose an argument, so that's a key thing. Never argue with them. They don't care if you like their decisions. They don't care. You can disagree. Doesn't matter. That's the decision they're making. They're going to move forward. So they have no emotion. Doesn't matter. Just has no bearing. They don't like looking stupid in front of their peers. So when you come up with something that they didn't know about and you highlight that fact, that can be frustrating for them. They like to act like they already knew all of these things. So when you present it to them, that is key in terms of the way you deliver. They are a target, whether it's vice president level, C-level, executive board. Everybody is trying to rise through the company to that seat, to that position. Everybody below them will do anything they can to get that position in a lot of cases. Their peers want their position in some cases if it's bigger parts of the company. So there is a target on their back. Everybody is out to get them and take them down, inside the company and even outside of the organization as well. So they believe that they've always got to watch all sides. They have a small circle of trust as a result. They don't trust just everybody. They only trust a small amount of people because they believe they're a target. And anything bad happens, usually you're fired because you are the top of the organization. You set the tone for risk. You actually made these decisions that cost us money or made us money, either way. So, as I mentioned, executives speak risk. Risk in its simplest terms is probability, the likelihood of something happening, and the consequence if it actually did happen. That's basically that's the simplest formula. There's all kinds of other things, threat, vulnerability, you name it. There's long equations. This is the simple way to look at it. What do you do with risks? From an executive perspective, accept the risk, which is what they usually do. Mitigate the risk, do something about it, or transfer the risk, make it somebody else's problem. Outsource it. Get a legal agreement, some sort of document that says you own the risk, not me. No risk, no reward. If you took no risk, you would make very little money. And remember, they're still in business to make money. Yes, they're industrial components. Some of them are actually state-run, like electricity. These things have to run all the time. I get that, but they're still there to make money. Even in a municipal situation, they're often the one that funds the rest of the municipality is the utility components or the industrial side. So no risk, no reward. It's the executive's job to take as much risk as possible. That's what they do. And hopefully, nothing bad happens. That's the goal. That's it. You're there to enable them to do this, believe it or not, because that's how you make money. So, in the all risks or all hazards view, security is just one piece of this. And we'll talk about what all these other risks are. And there's a few slides of this, and it's going to seem like a long treatise on risk. I'll make it quick. But the main thing is you understand at least some of the wide array, spectrum of risks that any executive is dealing with. Confidence, brand integrity. You wouldn't believe how much this matters. Consumer confidence, customer confidence, business partner confidence. People don't spend if they don't think you're going to be there, if they don't trust you as an organization, if they think you have issues with reliability, security, whatever it might be. Trust is key. Market, shareholder, customer, competitor advantage. Will my competitor will win versus us? What are they doing that we aren't? Is something that we're doing making us slow where they go faster or better? Credit rating. Every business that wants to do some very large industrial endeavor has to spend millions of dollars. Most of them don't just have that in their pocket. They have to go out and actually get credit for these very large expenses. Your credit rating has a very big impact on perspectives as well. Regulation, of course, this is an easy one. There's all kinds of regulations that can get in the way with safety, environmental, security. And even regulation gets into what rate you can charge for certain products because certain products are regulated in terms of what you can make. More risk types. Loss. They're definitely worried about loss, and these are all of the types of loss. There's a lot of them. This is just some of them. These are some of the key ones. Obviously, loss of revenue, production downtime or outage. And if there's one statistic that you can have in your pocket when you go to talk to executives, what is the cost per minute of an outage? This is not an easy number to get, I can tell you, but if you do your work and you find this number, you will win almost any argument. Because if you can offset this cost, they'll give you the money. That's the key. Obviously, human error, equipment failure, loss, but loss control measures, basically it's product loss in a lot of cases. Administrative costs, what's costing us to actually run the business. Liability and insurance is key. Are we going to get sued for doing something wrong? And if we do, are we covered? Insurance is a tricky one. You can also use this one. Think of fire insurance. If you try to process a claim for fire insurance, the first question is, did you have a smoke detector? Did you have a fire extinguisher? Did you do some diligence to make sure the fire couldn't spread and get as bad as it did? Same thing happens in cybersecurity insurance. If you weren't doing anything, they're not going to give you any payout. This is a key issue. But insurance for these projects is huge. So imagine you're trying to insure a multi-million-dollar operation. How much does that insurance cost? If you could see those numbers, you would just turn white. It's enormous amounts of money. Some more risk types. Product and process, obviously, things like tariffs and proprietary information, supply chain, these are all things that they have to think about. Workforce disruption, labor disputes. In some countries, it's extremely difficult to even keep labor, much less deal with whether it's political issues or factions, these kinds of things. Automation. Are you replacing your workforce with robotics, for example, or automation? Sometimes they don't like this, and this ends up causing, oddly enough, revolt or damage to the facilities. And then definitely the market itself. What is the market doing? Is there, digital disruption is one of the key ones, supply and demand costs. Are you seeing things shift from the source to where you're delivering? And then, of course, purchasing trends. Are people changing the way they're buying products? Are your business partners changing the way they're doing business so that they're not buying your piece of the overall industrial supply chain? So this is just some of the risks. These are some of the bigger risks that they're thinking about. And you're coming at them with one security issue. That's going to try to fit into all of this stuff. That's hard. This is what they lay awake at night thinking, and it's really not about security. So do your homework. How does your problem fit into their overall risk framework? So all those risks that I just talked about, pick one of them, pick a couple of them, as many as you can, and find out what security problem they've got and what solution you're recommending and how it's going to fit into that risk framework. What risk problems are you solving? Not what security issues are you mitigating. Understand the flip in the mindset. Don't bring problems without a solution. Don't come there and just say, we've got a problem, we should fix it. Come with, we have a problem, and here are some options for fixing it. Always come with a solution in mind. Have you thoroughly analyzed the business issue? Not the security issue, but how is it impacting business? What the problem that you have, how is that actually impacting the way you do business? This is more important than the security risks that might be there in the executive's mind. Do you know the actual root cause of that problem? Did you guess? Did you do the research to find out exactly what the information was that started this? Could you go all the way back and fix it at the source? Or are you just kind of, putting paint on the outside with the solution? What are the gaps? Dale mentioned the standard method is people, process, technology. Those are easy ones to fit into. Executives understand this. So if you have problems, you can kind of categorize them in these easy to digest groups. And executives love precedent. Has it happened before? Because if it's theoretical to them, it's theoretical. It's not going to happen. Till it happens, I don't care. So what solutions have worked for similar companies in similar situations, similar problems? And do you have proof of that? Is it documented somewhere? Because you can just say it, but they're going to want to see some proof of it, believe it or not. That's where they got where they are. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It doesn't work. I've seen many times where people like to scare executives into taking action. That may work on some middle management, but executives, they don't care. Why? Okay, I'm scared. I've already spent $3, $4, $10 million on security, and this is still a problem? Where'd all my money go? Why did I spend all that money and we still have this massive security issue that I should be freaked out about? If I'm spending so much money, why isn't it working? Fear will backfire on you, especially at the executive and board level. They'll take away your money because clearly you're ineffective. That's the perspective. Not the fact that you've been tirelessly filling holes, running at light speed, solving problems, and that the zero number of zero security incidents is a testament to all the work that's been done. That's not how they see it. So, as I mentioned, security has a stigma. It's confusing, it's expensive, it's restrictive. It keeps them from doing what they want. It costs them money. So don't add to that by adding a bunch of fear into the mix because it just makes them angry. There's a mindset that if the problem gets bad enough, if it's some existential threat, won't the government step in to help? I mean, we're a big industry. We make lots of important things. We keep the lights on, the water flowing, the gas moving, whatever that might be. If it's bad enough, the governments will step in, so we don't need to really prepare for any of this, really big threat scenario problems. If it's nation-state actors, well, yeah, the government will help, right? And then stay away from the, scary hacker stories and organized crime and other kind of existential threats. To them, again, those are things that are kind of force majeure. They go beyond the standard realm of what they can protect against, and if it's that far out, they stop caring. So here's some things to say. Instead of security, talk about risk. Talk about business problems. It's important. Branding is more important than you can imagine. There's a reason why marketing is so key to everything. And you have to put on your marketing hat. You're thinking, I'm not a security person, I'm a salesperson, and I'm selling my solution to management versus forcing them, scaring them, arm twisting them into it. Sell them on it. Risk reduction. reliability, continuity, loss prevention, operational efficiency, reduced downtime, recovery enhancement. All of these things are different words for security. Use these words instead. These are words management understands. When you say security, like, oh God, I have no idea what they're talking about. They're going to start talking about TCP, SCADA. I don't know what that stuff is. They may know some of it, but they don't know enough about it. They know just enough to know it freaks them out. It scares them. Use these words instead. These are words they're comfortable with. This is their world. They know this stuff. Speak in terms of gaps and strengths. Areas where you know you've got some gaps, areas where you've got strengths. They like these words. Think of terms of maturity and growth. We've got an area of immaturity in the organization. We need to mature that part of the company to get it to a space where it's grown to the level of everywhere else. They like these words. Natural human language, non-technical speak, business language. Prioritization. You come to them with a problem and a solution. They like it. Next question is, you've got them on the hook. They're moving into the discussion. They're opening up. When do we have to do this? Sooner is difficult because it costs more money. It could potentially impact the business or potentially impact the operations. You better have a very good and compelling reason for something tactical, near-term shift. Strategic, much less difficult. If you can wait, which is hard for security people, can you wait? Can you weave it in? Can you merge it in with other business practices over time? Much easier to sell. You can actually get more money because it's not an immediate spend. They can add bits to budget year over year versus one giant chunk immediately. So think about this. Is this something you can wait on? Does it have to happen right now? And their priority, basically, think about things in terms of when you sell them on it. The degree of impact, probability of occurrence, these kinds of things, and the cost model. If there is a way to get the money back, and you can show that you actually will save money by doing this, they love that. That's gold. Okay, as I mentioned, make it easy to understand. Branding matters. Give it a sexy name. Give it some mission name, not just, we got to fix security stuff. We have security problems. Or some technical name that they don't understand and will scare them. They like things like stoplight charts, red, yellow, green, right? They like up arrow, down arrow. They like smiling face, frowning face. Simple terms to help them understand. Bad stuff is red, good stuff is green, right? It's easy for them to look at and immediately understand it without having to get technical or have a long conversation. Problem and solution statement. Why does this need to happen? What's the risk to the organization? Use all of those risk terms that we just talked about. Maturity is how easy it's going to be. What are your capabilities to solve this problem? How much of a lift is this going to be for the organization? Is it something that you're basically already doing and you got to do more of it, right? These are ways to articulate your maturity in this space. What's the cost and what's the priority? As we talked about, tactical or strategic. Keep it to a single page. If it's more than a page, you'll lose them. You got to keep it simple. In their mind, if you can't digest it, distill it down to a page, there's too much information and it's too hard. Come back later when you have an easier problem for me to solve, when you've done your work to make it easier. That's how they see it. Close the deal. You've got them this far, they're listening, you've got your metrics in front of them as to why this is important. How do you get them to commit to a decision? That's the hardest part. Because typically they'll take all this information and they say, well, I'm going to think about this for a while. Don't let them do that. Politely, don't let them do that. Remember, it's your job. You're there to educate them on the risks and give them a range of options. When you're doing this, don't throw any other area of the organization, as we say in English, under the bus. Don't criticize other parts of the business for failing or doing things wrong. They'll see that as confrontational. That area of the business may actually undermine you and your efforts in the process to get funding for your solution. So be mindful of that. Enable those areas to grow and fix. Talk about maturity and capabilities in certain areas where you need some focus. That's a different way to say that this part of the business just sucks and they've got problems. Require a decision. Let them know that this is serious. It's got risk. Here's the priority. You need to decide within this time frame, or by default, you're accepting the risk. The minute you say that last piece, if you do not decide, you're accepting the risk. Light bulb goes off in their head. Oh, you're right. Now that I have this information, and I know this information, if I do nothing, I'm liable. So get them to commit to a time frame for a decision. Not that they will decide immediately. When will you decide? And understand if you don't decide by then, because this is basically the lifespan, the life cycle of all of the threats, vulnerabilities, risks, all those things that we talked about, because everything is changing nonstop over time. So this is as long as it can go before you can decide, before you by default accept the risk. And we have to have a different conversation about the same thing because things have changed. Recommend your best path, but be prepared with options. And I actually should reverse this statement. Start out by giving them options you know they're going to shoot down. Give them kind of some bookends, the two ends of the spectrum, and let them shoot holes in those and say no, and then give them the one you really wanted somewhere in the middle. And they'll probably say, okay, well, if you can't decide on any of those things, maybe we should do this. And they'll say, oh, okay, I feel like I've done my job and I've shot down a bunch of options and I'll pick that last one. That sounds good. That's the one that you really wanted. Use that one last. Play that card last. And then, of course, something that's important, never lose your temper. Balance your emotions. You should be basically just a risk statue there to tell them what their risks are. If you're too passionate about it, they get a little weird. If you're not passionate enough about it, they also get a little weird. So just be balanced. Be very straightforward, matter of fact, dispassionate. That's the way to deal with them. That's how they are. So quick example. You got a problem. It's a lack of operational monitoring for your ICS assets. I didn't match this with Dale's conversation earlier. I just picked this one out of the blue. The solution, we're going to call this, we're going to brand it visible operations. That's the catchphrase we're going to call it. That's the marketing buzzword. Management likes these things. So Spearhead, visible operations project. What is it going to do? It's going to give us new tools. Network design for monitoring provides additional operational data and visibility. Why is this important for? Well, it's going to increase system operational data. We're going to get more data out of our systems and the capability to analyze that data. That's going to give us faster issue detection. It's also going to give us an easier root cause analysis for identifying problems at the source and fixing them better versus just painting over them. It's also going to increase our uptime and it's going to lower our maintenance costs because we're going to have a more reliable operation. We're going to have to maintain systems less because they're operating more efficiently and reliably, and we know the problems sooner. Cost, well, it's low per network segment because in a lot of cases, we already have the networks built. We just have to add certain modules. There's a high cost recovery because overall what we're spending for this versus the operational efficiency gains, spending is lower, gains are higher, without question. Capability, we actually have a high capability here. We already have the networks built, we have the people to maintain it. We have a corporate skill set that can actually manage this stuff already. This is nothing new. Risk is low. It's close to the current system or network model. There's minimal new hardware, software, and training from an internal risk perspective, and the risk visibility goes up. Risks in terms of attacks and other operational issues go down. And then, of course, priority, this is a strategic one. We can just kind of weave this in over time. We can add each capital improvement. We can add the components over time as we go. Management will buy this. Any managers? You probably just bought it. Okay, summary, wrap up. Executives don't care about security, but they do care about making and losing money. Frame your security problem in terms of dollars and business words. Do your homework. Know everything about the company. They're going to try to get you off base and make you feel uncomfortable in the discussion, especially if it's a big dollar amount and a big problem. Speak their language. Don't bring a problem without solutions. We talked about that. This is an old adage. You should know this already. Make your message easy for them to understand. Small words, natural language, no tech talk, pretty pictures. That's the stuff they like. So make it easy for them to understand and digest. You're there to help them make a decision. That decision will likely come with more risk than you want. And if they end up taking the option that is accept the risk, don't freak out and get mad. Walk away. Come back next month, week, year to solve the problem again. Your role as a security professional, believe it or not, is not to secure the company. I know that sounds strange. And I'm a security professional myself with multiple certifications, and it feels weird, odd saying this. But your job is actually to enable the business to make as much money as possible without losing in the process. That's actually your job. I know that's difficult, but that's exactly how management sees it, and that's what they're paying for. That's why they employed you. That's why you get your salary. All right. That's all I've got. Hopefully, you have learned some ways to talk to management. Hopefully, you've gone outside your shell and you can actually, as a technical person, speak some management language. Thank you.